Hey, welcome. We are talking about how to get more time, more money, more confidence, less effort, and better results with what you're doing in your online business. And chances are, I'm guessing about your situation, is that you're on the right track, that you have a good idea, but maybe you don't have an exact plan figured out. And it's difficult to get the refreshing figured out, right? There's always some kind of emergency or another, or some kind of time issue happening, or even a better idea than what you have going on. And it's easy to start projects. It's always fun about the possibilities, but it's tough to finish projects because finishing means committing, right? Finishing means looking at results and moving on to the next thing and taking what you've built in this 1 month of your life and putting it on to month 2. And I can definitely relate, maybe you can as well, to not putting in the daily work or not doing the work that you should be doing. And next thing you know, that really good website idea you had, well, maybe you registered the domain and you parked it on a web host, but then 5 months later, you're thinking, oh yeah, didn't I start that 5 months ago? And maybe the year's partly over and you had all these cool ideas, and it's far too easy to start 8 or 9 things. And then after all these months pass, well, what do you have? Well, you have 8 or 9 half-finished things. So you and I both want to get to, maybe not the finish line, but get to a point where you see some results and get to the point where you see what your efforts have led to, and then you're excited about the numbers coming in, right? The traffic numbers, the lead numbers, the money that's happening. You stumbled on something that works, and now it's time to refine the process, to replicate your success, and to do more of what you're doing. That's what we all want, and let's talk about that today. So first of all, if you understand this thing we're about to talk about, then you'll get everything you want, all right? If you understand this, and here we go. That you need to, first of all, set yourself up for success. The actions are not going to take themselves, and our kind of no-brainer, almost too simple concept for this is called 4 daily tasks. And so many people have not heard about this, and then even more people have heard about this but are not even taking action. And even myself, I sometimes fall off the 4 daily tasks wagon, and every time that I find that, man, I've had a couple of slow weeks, both money-wise and also maybe taking action-wise, then I reassess and I think to myself, it's because I haven't been following this 4 daily task system. We'll talk about that. But then your emotions get in the way, and I know that I can relate to this as well. If I kind of let the negativity in, then it's not good. And something that I want to write down, I always forget what the Google tool is that allows us to draw on the screen. It's called like Jot something. It's like some goofy name, and Google doesn't just tell you what the tool is. But anyway, I wanted to doodle on the screen, but I don't remember what the tool. It's like Google Jot something, but whatever. So anyway, I guess since we can't jot something down, I guess to imagine in your mind, you have like a bell curve, right? You have like one of those graphs that kind of goes up and kind of goes down. And the thing is that on either side of this kind of big sort of bell curve thing, you know what I'll do? I'll do this. I'll say bell curve, and I'll kind of work on my subconscious and hope my subconscious like remembers what the heck that Google tool is. It's like Jot. For some reason, I keep getting like Jot stuck in my head, but it's like Google Whiteboard or Scratch, Jamboard. There we go. I knew it was something that they just they don't even want to make it easy for you to find it, right? So anyway, here's what we do: is we have our marker, and you figure. Let me show the screen again. So many moving parts, right? We have you have this, right, where it's you start off at the bottom, and you've seen like kind of like graphs like this where they chart how like something with like the economy or like population is doing, and And so maybe let's say this represents all the people that you interact with in general, right? And you can get as specific or vague as you want. You can say this is how it applies to your business, or how it just applies to your personal life. And you figure, like, here's all these people, and you figure that maybe on the edge here, right, there's like this 5% of people who love you no matter what you do. And in your business sense, they'll buy anything that you put out. And in your personal life, they're just supportive of anything and everything that you do. And on the other side, you have this other 5%, and they kind of don't like anything that you do, right? And maybe we should have switched these, but whatever. They don't like anything that you do no matter what. They complain. They make nasty YouTube or Facebook comments. And somewhere, in the middle, there's a little bit of wiggle room. But this is where we're starting out at, where and for some reason, your subconscious or your brain, it pays more attention to danger, to negativity, than to what's good in your life, to the positivity. And for some reason, even though there's probably an equal number of people, let's say this, there's probably an equal number of people that love versus hate you, but they don't hate just you. They probably hate hundreds of people, so they're kind of trying to ruin your day and moving on, versus the people that love you actually legit know who you are. And even though it's probably an equal number, the haters, they come and go. And the people that love you, they remember you, they stick around forever. And there's all these people in the middle that are there, that maybe you recognize their name, and they come and go, again, friends and business and things like that. But really, a lot of what you do does not really move the needle, only in a slight bit. So maybe the things that you do gets the people that love you, maybe you get a little bit more filled in here, but it's a slow, deliberate process, and it's something that you work on every single day. You think about political campaigns, right? Someone's running for president. They have the people on one end who will love that presidential candidate no matter what. They could set a building on fire. They could just say the dumbest things, but their supporters would love them no matter what. And then you have the other extreme where their haters will hate them. Even if they do all the right things, doesn't matter what they do, they'll have these haters. And the people in the middle are kind of set in their ways too. And when you look at like political campaigns, they'll throw so much money. They'll throw millions and millions of dollars at just to inch along this little bit of the love side of things. So maybe let's think about that and consider that as we're rolling into today's session, today's conversation. And what all that is leading to, what we'll talk about in a second, is that even though the negativity, the small number of refunders or customer support requests or haters may get to you, you don't have to let it get under your skin as much as you think you do. It's not helping you, it's not serving you. And there's a difference between being ignorant and just letting the tiniest little problem in your everyday life just kind of ruin your day. It's not good. And you can instead choose to be happy. And you can also choose to be in control. And this also relates to when something bad happens in your life or someone does something to you, you don't need to take it personally. And you can, in fact, be in control, which leads us to you being kind to yourself. And so I kind of put these 4 things in place because it's not always about your mindset and what happens inside of you. That's just why we say, well, take some action and set yourself up for success. But I would say that your everyday actions, your everyday life, I would say that 80% of it is how you think on the inside and how you feel about something and how you react or don't react or just your viewpoint on something. And only 20% is really the actions you take or the responses that you give. And it kind of gets back to this idea of, well, there's 20% of things that you are in control of, including your emotions, including your actions, including your time, including your responsibilities. And then about 80% of all these things that happen to you that are not within your control. And if you can kind of let go of those things, maybe a little bit every day or a little bit every week, it won't happen overnight, then that puts you on the path towards success and towards being a better person and having what it is that you want. So let's talk about a couple of these things. And by the way, the punchline, the place, the endpoint where we want to be on today's free webinar training call is at doubleagentmarketing.com. Let's just get that part out of the way, because you know that I'm going to sell you something. So let me just tell you what it is I'm going to sell you. It's doubleagentmarketing.com. If this is a way for you to be a fly on the wall and spy on our private conversation, this is our monthly mastermind where it's $7 a month and we meet once a month. And I'm always kind of careful about keeping things evergreen, but at the time we're doing this live presentation right now, our next meeting is tomorrow. So if you're seeing us live, or if we just finished and you're watching the replay, join now, because our next meeting that we do once a month is tomorrow, and it's just $7. You try us out, and we talk about all kinds of fun marketing stuff, and it's very similar to this, where we show our screen, where it's not just theory, but there is a lot of theory in a good way, but then we'll switch and kind of show the implementation side of things. And it's a lot of kind of things that are on the cutting edge, things that maybe won't, I hate to say won't last, but things that are kind of, like sometimes there's these marketing techniques or these traffic methods where you have to jump on it and use it now, because then it might change in a couple of months. And you see this all the time with social media, with different ways of getting traffic to yourself. And there are so many different things that just won't fit into a course or a product, or I don't really want to like develop something and say, okay, let's make these sessions, let's make these videos, make these modules. I just want to show you some cool things. And especially, so this came in the mail the other day. It's from a company called Ontraport, and they said that Robert Plank is certified as an Ontraport partner, a 2022 Ontraport certified expert. And I say it not to brag, but just that like I picked up some new skills in the past month, especially when it comes to this thing called marketing automation. And maybe you've heard about this. Maybe you're familiar with like a really simple idea like an autoresponder, right? Where someone puts in their email address and it gets them on your system and starts sending them a sequence of messages. But then and maybe you've taken that to the next level and done what's called a cart abandonment sort of automation, which means that say someone comes to your website and say it's like this, doubleagentmarketing.com, and they click on a button, and then they go here and they fill in their information, but then they leave, or they go here and they just close the page. Wouldn't that be someone you should be pursuing maybe slightly more aggressively than your other subscribers? And that's called like a cart abandonment process, where if someone came to your site and they went to check out, but then they just like forgot, maybe they didn't have their credit card on them, maybe that's someone that you should maybe throw a few ad dollars at, or see who that person was and talk to them on social media, send them a custom personal email, send them a quick video like this. It's just one of those like tweaks in your business. And it's like this idea of marketing automation. And I could go on and on about this, but we'll switch gears really quickly in a second. And I'm a little nervous about showing this part of it, but I have a client where I was doing some of this kind of automation stuff, and it really got my brain kind of lighting on fire. It kind of poured some gasoline on the brain cells. And maybe your eyes glaze over when you think about like KPIs, marketing metrics, conversion rates, and I do too. And I also get bored when someone says, here's this piece of software. Did you know there's this feature and that feature and this tab and this tab? And I'm more excited about what I can do with the software that I have in front of me. And so an example of this, I'm going to be really careful about what I show, but I have this client where I learned Ontraport for him, and he said, I want to set some of this kind of stuff up. And I set up this system for him. And this might not make a lot of sense, but basically, here's what this is. This is a kind of an automation, a process where there's like this whole map, right? And there's all these contacts, and there's people that are kind of over here and people that are over there. And I used to see things like this, and I would just get totally befuzzled, eyes glaze over, and maybe you're that way too. And I realized after a while that there are some aspects of your future business that you need to see again and again, right? You need to be kind of dripped on a little bit and say, did you know this was possible? And say, you don't yet have an email sequence, but maybe if I keep showing you this sequence or what we built here or give you some possibilities there, then it would eventually wear you down, right? It would eventually wear down your negativity, your procrastination, your reasons for not being able to do it. And if I kept showing you these things we set up in our funnels, because people always talk about funnels and things like that, and then you might be thinking like, oh yeah, that's something that I keep feeling bad about myself because I should be doing it. But if I keep on saying, hey, we set up this, hey, we set up that, my dream is to eventually wear you down so that you take action on some of this. And this is a whole big map, and this is a whole mess, but all you need to understand from this is that there are 393 people, contacts, customers who were in this part of the map. And then they kind of went on these little paths, and the 393 passed through here, and the 393 were sent this postcard, and these 381 were sent this other postcard, and then 29 are kind of waiting around, and in a few more days we'll send another postcard, and 177 people, we are doing a manual task on these people, and some of my employees are like looking up these people's like social media, contact information. We're sending some more postcards, we're sending some emails, and 66% of these people are being sent off to lawyers. And what is this? What is the scenario? Basically, this is a monthly client of ours where he has a trademark. And I can't tell you what the trademark is, doesn't even matter, but some people use his trademark without his permission, and so we're sending a postcard out, or first of all, we're having my people go and find, like if someone infringes on a trademark, we find their mailing address, and then a postcard goes out, and we wait a few days, and we see if they have responded to the postcard, and another one goes out, and wait a few days, and so just by having a real-life use case, a real-life implementation of some of these kind of marketing ideas, it can become fun, because you think in theory like, oh man, I could send 15 emails or have a 45-day email sequence, and you get overloaded with the theory. But when you're like, okay, I don't need to understand all this, but just this whole idea of like, well, I can look at like this whole map of like, okay, there's like all these people that are here and that are here, and I can say like, okay, well, how did this work out yesterday? And how many postcards so we sent out 2 postcards yesterday, or in the past week, we sent out 50 different postcards to these people. You can kind of, the gears begin turning, and you're thinking like, oh, this is kind of a cool little like automated machine. And consider this, and here's where I'm planning on kind of using some of these sort of Ontraport skills we have is let's say, and so on this coming Friday, I'm attending like a online kind of like a speed dating but for business thing where like you kind of come across 10 or 20 different people, different contacts, potential business partners, and I'm going to kind of feed all these 20 people into this kind of map that I'm going to create, and kind of say, well, let's say I met Lois Gallo at a networking event, like a Zoom networking event, and all I have is like a name, Lois Gallo, and I put in her name into this map. And then, and say they're over here on this map, and one of my employees then goes and like adds Lois Gallo to LinkedIn and adds them to my social media, and then does a couple of Google searches and locates Lois Gallo's like website, contact information, email or contact form, phone number, and then we move further along in the map and we maybe send a personal email. And then we say, well, is she respond to this? Does she reply? If she replies, maybe move them over and say like, well, let's record a personal like 30-second video like this on camera saying, hey, nice to meet you, and then move over some more. And then say, well, let's add her on LinkedIn and send her a LinkedIn message. Or let's send a letter to her in the mail, or let's send a postcard. And just, it's just the idea basically is that in marketing, in our business, we have these contacts, we have these leads, right? And there's people that need to buy from us, that have bought from us, that could buy more things from us, and people who we need to be talking to, businesses that we need to be like helping. And we're probably not building your list big enough or fast enough, but there might be 10 people that you just met this week that need to have some emails sent to them telling them what you do or starting a conversation. There are probably maybe 100 or 500, even if you have a small list, there might be 100 people on your email list who maybe if you send an email blast or you post something on social media, are all 100 people going to see what you're up to? Well, no, but maybe if there's 100 contacts that you have, maybe you need to be talking to maybe 10 of those per day and be sending some emails, be sending some postcards, be sending some Facebook messages. And no matter what your situation is, there are so many just underused, really simple, even old school marketing techniques like sending a text message, picking up a phone, that you can and should be using. And so that's a little bit of a tangent of just kind of to say there's never enough time. There's all kinds of cool stuff in motion that's happening that we want to be showing you. And part of this Ontraport thing and kind of having this like flow of like contacts, and some people were taking this action on them and some others were notifying them about that. There's a lot of possibilities there, especially if, like we said, if your sales are not where they're at, if your traffic is not where you want it to be, if you don't have as big of a list as you want. And I get so frustrated when people geek out too much about the possibilities, right? When they get too hung up on features. And what I'm missing and what you're missing many times are just the marketing fundamentals, right? It's just, are you sending enough emails? If I go to your website, can I easily tell what it is that you do? When I visit you on social media, are you updating regularly? And you could definitely use some of these simple reminders. People like Joyce Heiser might just be saying, oh yeah, you know what? I should be making a quick post to LinkedIn every day. And then there are so many like kind of experiments that I love trying that I want to show you. Especially the beginning phases of these experiments. And so one thing that comes to mind is, and this is not a thing I've done yet, but I want to have a task for one of my employees to every day log into my social media and just start like interacting with the top people that I want to be interacting with. And so in this Ontraport system that we kind of showed a tiny bit a moment ago, there is a way to sort of sort the people that are like your hottest leads, basically. So if I switch over to the desktop and show this Ontraport thing, I've hidden the email addresses, but maybe I'll try to hide the names too. But we have this thing called a lead score, right? And we can see that if someone did something like open an email, clicked an email link, visited a web page, bought something, then this increases their lead score. And we can set this up any way that we want, but the idea is that this guy Sam, this guy Steven, this guy Vincent, these are kind of like our top people right now, right? These are people that are very active, that need our attention, that for whatever reason they're here now, right? They're paying attention, and they might need a little bit of a boost or a reminder that we're there. And don't you know, probably only a handful of marketers like this. There are probably a handful of marketers that like they're always there. They're always posting. And so, and also in our Double H Marketing monthly calls, I kind of want to show you things like that, where there are specific marketers that I kind of follow. And I don't know how you are with this, but I would probably say that my brain has room for like 5 heroes, right? There are like 5 marketers that like I kind of watch everything it is that they do, and I don't buy like everything they put out, but probably on a pretty regular basis. And kind of the honeymoon period maybe lasts like 6 to 18 months, and then maybe one of those 5 heroes like falls off, and then there's room for someone else. And so, so for example, ever since my son was born, I started using YouTube a lot. Oh dang, Obi-Wan Kenobi trailer. Anyway, I started using YouTube a lot because, you know, when you have a baby, you need to be doing, like, play music, and he's almost 2, he's figuring out his favorite shows, and so we build up these different, like, playlists, we subscribe to different people, and so one person that I want to kind of point out is I recently came across this guy, Alex Hormozi. And I only even learned of him like a week or so ago. And what happened was I was Googling, or I was looking on YouTube for people that are on podcasts, because I have a lot of podcast guests, but as far as me being on podcast shows, it's something that I kind of, it's a struggle for me to do. It's a struggle for me to like get motivated and find shows to be on and look at what kind of shows my team has found for me and appear on these shows. And YouTube is such a good resource for you just to see how it's done, right? Just even look at tutorials. If you don't know how a certain software works, look on a YouTube video for it. If you want to learn some new skill, like how to do your taxes better, or prepare them better for your CPA, or some accounting thing, or some marketing thing, just go on YouTube. And I was looking up people like, here's like Grant Cardone in the thumbnail here, where like some of these people that like are always on podcasts, and how do they, how is every podcast good, or what have they done recently, or like how do they make their kind of niche topic exciting, and like what's their hook. And so I was kind of looking at Grant, and you know, I'm kind of falling out of love with him, to be honest. And so I was kind of looking for someone new, and I saw Grant was on this guy Alex's YouTube channel. He has 200,000 subscribers, and what was really impressive about him is, check this out, is how often he posts. 2 days ago, 4 days ago. So it's basically once a day, more or less. And the videos, there's like quick and short ones, but a lot of them are like 10 and 15 minutes. But then when you go, and especially the videos that show up for me, there's sometimes like 90-minute videos, like 54-minute videos. And so I was really impressed that there was like, it seems to be like 1 video a day, and they're usually 10 minutes. But many times, especially his early videos, were like 60 minutes, 90 minutes. And if you're feeling stuck, then maybe it's because you're hanging out with the wrong people. Have you ever heard that cheesy saying of like, you're the average of the 5 people you hang out with? And that applies to your energy level, your productivity, your income, things like that. If you hang around a bunch of duds, a bunch of negative people, then they will pull you down to their level. But if you hang out with people that are further along or on a higher level than you want to be, or that you're at, then they can pull you up to where they are. And they don't even need to be people that give you the time of day, but they can just be people. Oh, there's the thing ringing. I gotta turn off my customer support right there. All right, they can just be people that you watch and follow along on YouTube. And so many times you just kind of absorb it and you take it in, and you don't necessarily need to always be in learning mode or always be taking action, but sometimes just like kind of absorbing this and being around this can get you 5% further along, or get you to do 15% more of what you're doing. And one thing that I'm going to be showing in this month's call tomorrow is I've been playing around with short videos. And this is something that one of the members of Double Agent Marketing has been kind of bugging me for like at least a year to do, maybe even a couple of years. His name's Marlon Sanders. He's one of our monthly members. And he's like, dog, you got to be putting out short videos. And I was like, yeah, sure, someday. And so have you been in this situation where you know that it wouldn't take a lot to just get started, right? Even like me being on this webinar here, you know, we had all these slides planned. I'll show you what our slides were going to be. I had all these slides planned, but we just kind of as a backup plan. But we got to talking, and it's more fun to just kind of riff a little bit, and it's more fun to kind of look at your questions that I'm seeing in the box and just kind of customize to what it is that I'm seeing. So anyway. Have you been in that situation where you said, oh yeah, I need to like write a blog post. Let me outline 50 different blog posts. And then what happens? You get 0 created. You get 0 written. Or someone says, you know, you need to make an opt-in page. You need to give away a free gift. Oh man, I'll think of 12 ideas for free gifts. And then you are stuck still at 0. So many times you need to just take action. And so I took some action, and I've got some results to show you. And the problem with results, with numbers, is that the numbers are always too high or too low, right? And especially with income, especially with money, but even with subscriber count, traffic counts, it's such a bad game. And that's why a lot of marketers that you see are afraid to show you. Because the number, like this number, 2285, honestly, I've been stuck around 2,000 subscribers for years on my YouTube channel. It's not a thing I really focus on growing. But then you look at this and it's both too high and too low. Oh, I can't get to 2,000 subscribers. And at the same time, oh, you only have 2,000 subscribers. And so my answer to that, my solution, is that I'm just showing you some experiments. Because isn't it true that, let's say that you take the traffic coming into your business seriously. Isn't it true that you only probably hang around like 2 or 3 social networks that are kind of your main ones, and maybe only like 1 or 2, right? I know that I probably hang out on Facebook for the most part, and then sometimes LinkedIn. But then these other accounts, like, actually, I take that back. I'd say Facebook and YouTube. But sometimes I check LinkedIn, sometimes I check Twitter, but there's so many sites, and there's never enough time in the day, and I kind of just hang around Facebook and YouTube, maybe because that's like my personality or my age. So what I would say to you is that many times the numbers are on the small side because we're just looking at experiments. We're looking at things that are fun, that are not really the focus. And that in general was kind of a life lesson for me, is that many times the person that I thought was doing really well, that had like a Twitter following of like 1 million people, and then you go and look and they're all bots. And you're thinking like, okay, well at first I thought they were doing really well, but they're playing games with me. And then when it goes the other way, you're like, oh yeah, that dude, I don't think he makes that much money. His list isn't that big. He doesn't get that many people on a webinar for me, or he doesn't send that many clicks to me as an affiliate, but then he's got like 72 clients that are paying him monthly. So I'm like, okay, so that's how he's making his money. And I had a conversation just yesterday with this really nice lady who she's always going to networking events. And that's kind of the way that she makes her money, is by talking to people, doing all this one-on-one stuff, just always socializing, always networking. She doesn't really have much of an email list, doesn't really go on social media because she doesn't have to. And you personally, I'm talking directly to you, you can and should play to your strengths, whatever those are. And your strengths might be to land some clients of your own. That way you can kind of play in a bigger playground and help someone out who has like a 2 million person following, or has like a $1 million per month business, instead of just kind of plugging along, playing for peanuts. But there's always more to be done. There's always some kind of fun things to be checking out. And so one thing that has been kind of a surprise is I finally got the motivation. This guy wore me down, and I finally made some short videos. And so my YouTube channel has like hundreds of videos, and I don't really care much about the views, the clicks, the subscribers. And if anything, I mostly use this to have an additional place to publish podcast episodes. So I don't even really care what the views are on that. But we've been playing around with these short videos. And so check out some of these results here. So usually also on this views column, well, a couple things. So you know how earlier I said there's only 2,000 subscribers on this YouTube channel? Well, when I look at the views, I look at my top videos, some of my videos over the years have done really well, right? This one video, 70,000, 40,000, 30,000, 30,000. So the lesson here is that it doesn't really even matter how many subscribers you have or what an average amount of views or clicks is. Just put out a few videos, and some of them will get tons of views just showing something very simple. How to migrate your WordPress site, how to do a webinar in 5 minutes, how to resize your screen. Some of these have gotten tens or thousands of views just from showing something quick and simple. And if you've ever used YouTube, haven't you been this way? Haven't you said, you know, I want to use this tool called Camtasia, but I sort of want to see if it does what I want, and I want to see it in action. And many times we'll just search Camtasia or search WordPress or search, you know, Wix, Squarespace, and see what shows up on YouTube. And if you search, say, WordPress, how to make a WordPress site a year ago, 1.6 million views, 300,000 views, 167,000 views, 600,000 views, and it's a 4-minute video. And so this right here is some low-hanging fruit. Is there a software tool? Is there a web-based tool? Is there an app that you use and you can just record a quick 4-minute video showing it, talking about it, saying why you should use it, saying why you shouldn't use it, and I need to be recording some videos on this whole Ontraport thing that I've been mentioning to you, because just showing up, just having something in place is the next step for you, and it doesn't even take that much time as long as you don't overthink it. So we're looking at the views for some of these recent videos, and some of them are not out yet, but here's what was surprising, and here's something I want to kind of unpack a little bit in tomorrow's session inside doubleagentmarketing.com. And here's what we can do as far as the doing things on the fly. We can say doubleagentmarketing.com. We can put a URL there. We can put it on the bottom there. That way you know where to go. That way you can firsthand be part of that cliche they say where like you need to follow up 7 times for people to take action, and many times it's between follow up number 8 and number 12 and even past that. It's okay to be shameless and proud about your website links. So we're going to say that's the website link right there at doubleagentmarketing.com. But anyway, we are so yeah, you see how many views I usually get, right? Sometimes it's thousands, but sometimes it's just a handful. But then I was posting some of these short videos, right? 1,400 views for just this literally 15-second video that I posted in the car. 16-second video, 500 views. So this is kind of interesting, right? Some of these results. And I said earlier that things change so much. So I guess the hot trend right now is these short videos. It's a thing I wanted to do for years. Finally started doing it. I think I'm on like today would be day number 4 of recording a short video. And I plan on, if there's time in tomorrow's call, to do it while I'm on the call. But either way, if I do it on the call or not on the call, I'll post a video as part of just my daily habit that I'm trying to build here. And with everything that you do, there's kinks to be ironed out, and there's kind of like refinements on the process. Because here's the thing, is if I say, okay, film a short video. You might say like, okay, well, like, what do I use to do it? How do I do it? What software do I use? Where do I put it? A million questions, right? And so I just kind of want to show you in these calls that we're doing what I'm doing so that you can kind of just, at the very least, just follow along, and then maybe your unique process will grow a life of its own. So Instagram, it's not really my favorite place to go. I don't really get it, but what I do get, especially as far as a watcher, are these things called Reels. Okay, so Instagram is an image-only platform, so people will post pictures of like their food or nature, and that's why I resisted it, because I was like, but I like words, I like to write things. But then Instagram came out with this thing called Reels, which are short videos, and they're 60 seconds or less. And as everything with any social network platform, when they come out with a new feature, they want people to use that new feature, so they will give you extra rewards for using whatever the hot new feature is, right? And so, for example, a few years ago, Instagram came out with these things called stories, and there's always terms. There's like so many terms. There's so many things to know, right? And so Instagram came out with these things called stories. And what that means is you post an image or video, and it only lasts for 24 hours. It's like a temporary content. And why would you post something that's gone in 24 hours? Well, because more people will see it, because it will not last very long. And so many of the things, so many of the changes you see on platforms like Google, Facebook, whoever, they come about because the platform just gets too dang crowded. A few years ago, people started talking about how there's the algorithm, right? And they only show some of the content. And it's because so many people were posting that they just couldn't fit everyone's content into your feed, so they began deciding, let's show some of this and not show some of this. So these things called stories, you post a quick video, and then it's gone in 24 hours, and in the meantime, they really show you a lot of that. And then likewise, this other feature called Reels, which are 60-second or less videos, Reels started getting my attention. Because as I said, I'm mostly a Facebook guy. I'd be on the app and I'd be scrolling, and I kept seeing these quick Instagram Reels. And one person in particular who really captured my my attention, I think he's like John's Finance Tips, and he's hilarious. Yeah, here's the guy. And he's kind of annoying, but I think that's part of his shtick. And you can just kind of see, like, he is a little bit annoying, right? But he'll talk about these concepts, and I'll go to his Reels, and I kind of got drawn into this. Probably him and I would say like 3 other TikTokers, or I'm sorry, like Instagram people. And he just kind of does like these sort of back and forth things, and he's really good about having the captions. And you can see how there's like, he's talking the 2 guys in an outfit. And this is kind of more on an advanced level, where with the quick cuts and with the captions, this is something to build towards. Don't let the fanciness stop you from taking some quick action. But here's what's possible, right? And so you could just click a button and talk about something that's helpful in your business. And I find it helpful to kind of think in terms of like 3, maybe 4 steps. And if you even looked at whatever it is he's talking about here about real estate investment trusts, REITs, he's kind of talking about, well, here's the idea, and here's how you do it, and here's the common objection. And it's a lot to just fit into 60 seconds. But I was just like, you know, these people are kind of entertaining me. So I started playing around and posting things like 4 easy improvements to communicate powerfully. What you focus on grows. And if you look at on the bottom here, there's this number where I was like really surprised at this Instagram account here, where I only have like 800 followers, but I'll post these Reels and I'll get 3,500 views, 3,700 views, and I've just been just kind of playing. And built into the Instagram app, you can type the text on it, and I don't have captions, I don't have the quick cuts, but this is something that's been sort of interesting. And you can record a little bit and then pause and then resume. So I recorded this last night, and I recorded a little bit, stop, and I was sitting in the rocking chair back there. I recorded a little bit, and then I stopped, and then I went over to the window, right? And you can see in the video that now I'm over in the window, and I'm kind of sharing the component number 2, and then we wait another second, and then I'll be like recording again somewhere else in the office. See, and now I'm facing it towards the screen, and so it's starting to grow on me. And then we take that same video that's there, and then we post it over on TikTok. And then, so still here we get not as huge crazy numbers, but I just started a TikTok account not that long ago, and I only have 11 followers, but we got 200 views, we got 200 views, and you can see how this is something that, first of all, can build up, is a good habit for you to have. You can post on multiple platforms. This is a way to grow your following in all kinds of different ways, and to look at who your top fans then are that you can then message. Because imagine if you just did this every day for a month and you had all these videos about book publishing, or you had all these videos about like home renovation or something, and you could look at who your top fans were and get them on your email list or get them on a webinar. And so there's just all kinds of cool things that are going on, in this case with short videos, where we'll record the short video on the Instagram Reel, put it on the TikTok, and then I'll go to YouTube and then post it as, they call them, YouTube Shorts. And so you see how there's like all these terms, but they all kind of mean the same thing. They're just like, this social platform wants you to have these 60-second or less videos. And so and this is all just like recording the one video and then making a couple of extra taps and putting it on other places, because you can even see that somewhere in here, see this, for writing tips, this is the same video. And this one only got 2 views, so I didn't get the same amount of love. This other one's got 500 views. I didn't get the same love as the other ones, and so I'm not sure why. I'm not sure if that just means I need to keep on posting. And then we play around with the system. So one thing that I haven't seen anyone talk about is that when I make these short videos, I post them on the Instagram Reels, post them on the TikToks, you can sometimes make a post and specify your location. So I'm not sure if, so to kind of illustrate my point here, if I go to Facebook and I go to make a post, see how there's this check-in, there's this location. So imagine, first of all, imagine if there was a client and you were trying to get their attention and you were just like posting some kind of marketing thing. And what if you tagged that you were near such and such local business that you wanted to kind of get on their radar? But it doesn't have to be just local. You can type in any old address here. And so, for example, some of these Instagram Reels I've been posting, I've been thinking like, okay, well, there's this guy in Tupelo, Mississippi, and I think even his address itself, I can kind of say like, oh, I'm near this guy, I'm at his location, and I'm kind of, you know, playing around with it. But I think that some of these social platforms like your TikToks and your Instagrams, I think that if you say you're in such and such location, they'll sort of show it to people near that location. And as you saw, you can choose anywhere in the world. You can choose across the country if you keep in mind like these specific individual clients that you're trying to land. And you combine, so we're combining all kinds of different things, right? We're combining that you have this offer, you have this thing that makes you money, you have this service that you want to provide, you have this product that you want to sell, you have this affiliate link, whatever it is, and that's one aspect of it, right? Another aspect is having this habit and taking consistent action and posting on social media and not really caring that much about the numbers, but sometimes you end up having some big wins. And so in Double Agent Marketing, sometimes I want to show you some of these big wins or some of these fun experiments. So don't judge me. This is a gun page, and I'm not pro-gun at all, but I have a Facebook page that kind of shows some of these, it's for gun enthusiasts. And sometimes the numbers are crazy, right? We got 9,000 engagements in the past month. Now, what the heck does that mean? Well, who knows? 9,000 people kind of clicked, liked, viewed, commented. Is that good? Well, usually on this page, this is a page that we have 50, I own it. It has 50,000 fans, and this is, I've had this for years, and it's just been fun because the audience is very reactionary, right? You post something and they all get super excited, super up in arms. And when I post something, I might get, 3,000 people looking at it, 1,400 people looking at it. But then sometimes I want to show some of our wins, and I don't even really care who sees. Because sometimes it's like, oh, I don't want to show my numbers. Who's going to copy me? Copy away. I don't care. And so in this post, we happen to get 300,000 people looking at it. We got 4,000 people sharing it. So I hope that you understand that I did a fun experiment, did something that worked, want to show the results, but do I want to make a whole entire product, whole entire class on it? No. Do I want to wait 2 years before sharing it? No, I want to share it right now. And so these are kind of just like fun things that that you can look at what we're doing, and you can decide for yourself, like, am I going to use this to motivate me? Am I going to kind of say like, well, that's a cool like tip, or that's perfect timing that adjusts what I'm already kind of doing and working on? And one thing in particular is I think that you personally should be podcasting. And I say that almost every webinar, but you should be. And it's an easy way to stay relevant, to kind of turn your best customers into customers for life. And it gives you just all these extra things. And so, for example, something that most people aren't doing is posting content like this, posting still graphics, because this particular person, Evan Money, he's super cool. He's like the most high energy person I've ever met, almost too much. But I've interviewed him on my podcast twice, I think. And if you're sometimes it's hard to like think of like, oh, what's a quote I want to be known for? What's something really profound I've said? But you say things that maybe aren't that profound to you, but then if someone goes back and looks, they say, oh yeah, that thing that Gordon Richardson said really was helpful. And so what we do is we interview this guy, Evan Money, and he said this just from me talking to him. He just rattled it off. If you take action, you can overcome most problems. You can either make an excuse or you can find a way. That is a unique quote for him. And we have like a podcast recording, and we have sometimes like little video clips we put on the social sites. But we have our team listen for these quotes, and so we use a tool called Otter for this. And this is the kind of stuff that we show in Double Agent Marketing. So we have this tool called Otter, and let me log in here. And what we can do is we can take a recording of our podcast show, and this automatically generates a transcript. And you can even click, and it'll play exactly where we're clicking, and it'll highlight. But we can just comb through here and easily find a quote or two and say, well, let's pull this out, and so in this case, it's Mary Kravitz, right? And so we recorded this interview with Mary Kravitz. We uploaded the audio file to this tool called Otter to get a quote from what we talked about. And then maybe we'll go on LinkedIn, where we are most likely friends with her because that's part of the process, right? You interview someone and then you add them on a social media. It looks like I'm not, so I click on this connect button. So we see there's this Mary Kravitz. So let's just save her. Let's just make a quote right now, right? Here's Mary Kravitz. So we have her photo. We are going to say, let's find a helpful quote from her. Reduce things down and only focus on a handful of things and be really good at a handful of things. Perfect. And we'll clean that up and make her sound really smart. So we have a quote, we have a photo, and then in our monthly calls, many, many times we revisit this tool called Canva. This is like Photoshop, but it's on the web, and it's a lot simpler in a good way. We say create a design, make an Instagram post, and then we'll search a template. And the thing with with Canva is that you start with a template, and then you just kind of replace items in here. So let's say we'll just use this sports event, even though it's not a sports event, but we'll use this this template here, okay? And this is Mary Kravitz, and we don't need any of that, but we do want to replace this with her photo. So we'll upload. Did we save? Oh, we saved it on the desktop, right? We got this Mary Kravitz, and then we can just drag this over and replace what was already there. But oh no, what about that background there? So we can say edit image, background remover, and give it a second. And remember the old days, I don't know if you've ever had to like trace around the person. Cool, there we go. Now it just removed the backgrounds. And then we'll say, let me put the layering like that. And then we'll say, so what's her website? It is simplygetclients.com. So we'll say she's simplygetclients.com. And then we might need to kind of rearrange things. And you see how like this can be a little bit of a messy situation, right? Where it doesn't always go perfect, it's not refined, it's not polished, but we're showing some cool stuff. And then let's see, where did that otter go? I have a million windows open. I'm trying to find where, there we go. So she's episode 236. So this was at marketeroftheday.com/236. So she was on our podcast like so many years ago, but we have the link to the episode. We have a link to her website, and the only thing and we dropped in her photo here. We're just missing that cool quote we found, which was right here. And so if we copy her sentence and we place it here, so reduce your tasks. Focus on a handful of can't see my cursor, skills that you and get really good at dang it, can't even see what I'm saying. Good at those skills. We'll put quotes around it, and then we'll make it be centered. And so many things are just like saying like, well, does that look good? Not much of a graphics person, but you can tell what you like or don't like. And we'll kind of position that. All right, good enough, right? And this is all without installing any software or really having that many skills or even having that much time, because then we can say, I'll share this, and we will, scroll down, download it. And apparently Canva has a way to directly share on social media. I don't even know how to do that. But we can then go to LinkedIn, And what was that quote that we pasted? We'll have that for the text. We'll go to LinkedIn and we'll share a photo. And we don't want just the photo of her. We want the photo of this graphic we made. And is there a way to put text as well? And we'll say at Mary Kravitz. There we go. Even though she hasn't even accepted the friend request yet, now we've posted it, and maybe we'll say hashtag. Does it let us? Oh, type them right there. Time management. And so yeah, that was just and there we go. Now we got some social posting done. And can you see how if you had this as part of a habit, if you had this as part of a process where we showed like the map and we said like a person is here and a person is there, we drop in a podcast guest, right? We say, well, the person, we've contacted them as a podcast guest. Then we move over. Have they scheduled for us to meet with them? Then we move over. Have we met with them and recorded an episode? Then move over. Is the episode in process? Is the episode live? Have we contacted the person? Have we made one of these fancy graphics? Have we posted the graphic on LinkedIn? Have we posted the graphic on Facebook? Because, as you saw with the Instagram Reels and the TikTok and the YouTube, we don't have to stop there. We can then go to our Facebook page, and then we can say, let's figure out how to post. So post a photo. And then we will browse. How the heck do we browse? Add photos. Grab that graphic we created. Paste the same thing. And can we tag her? I don't think. Ooh, there we go. We can tag her Facebook page as well. And most people don't do this. If you've ever connected with someone in like a joint venture scenario, if you try to get affiliates, if you've ever been on a podcast, most of the time you never hear from the person again. They're not actually taking this seriously. They're not being consistent. They're not building a business. And what kinds of results do you think you'll get? If you just treat this as a hobby, you'll get hobby results. And you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have it all figured out. In fact, if you try to have it all figured out ahead of time, you probably won't take action. And that might have been one of many things that's held you back. This whole concept we're talking about of, I need to plan 50 things, I can't even take action. Just look at what I was just doing. Just kind of take, and I've been in the situation myself where I've been at a conference or I've been in a mastermind or on a Zoom call like this one, and when I see the person clicking around and making things, I'm like, that's pretty easy. And then since I'm there on the call anyway, I go and I click and I make it happen as well. So if you're the kind of person, and I think that you are, if you're the kind of person that needs to be noticed more, that wants to be following up with whatever size list that you have and getting better results from it, if you're the kind of person that knows that you need to be posting at all on social media, right? You need to be making one of these quick videos, and you need to be just kind of making a better habit on some of these things, then we want you in our double agent marketing site. And even something that has just happened is, let me show you this that just happened about 5 minutes before this call. Is this person, Smooth Sailing Captain Lindsay? I've known her for years, and she's just one of many relationships that I've been building, and I've had her on my podcast, and I messaged her to say, hey, here's our episode, and it's live on this page, and I wanted to let you know about that, and I'm kind of finagling it into a podcast appearance on her page. And sure, you can look at, there's like a little bit of a kind of going back and forth talking about possible topics. And then part of what she was saying is like, well, do you have graphics made? Can you make me some graphics to promote this episode? And so part of what I was doing is while I was chatting with her, I went over to my chat window as well. Man, look at how fast this was. Okay, so I didn't even plan this. So we began this call we're on right now. We're about to wrap up because we don't want to keep you longer than an hour or so. We started this call at 11 a.m. in my time zone. And so just before this call, we were talking at 10:41, right? So 20 minutes before the call, 10:41. And then I knew I was about to hop on this and I wanted to hang out with you. So at 10:43, I said, can we get some graphics made for Lindsay? And then, so while we were talking just now, about an hour later, so this just now happened, Al came back and Al said, here you go, I made some graphics. And he just went through the process, or I think he assigned it to someone else who went through the process I just showed you, where we import and I even think I saw her episode in Otter a minute ago too. He imported her podcast recording. He found some quotes. He grabbed her photo off social media. He clicked and made a template in Canva. He customized a few things, and the end result, without me having to do it, was these social graphics. And I'll say, yes, please schedule these on social media if you wish. And then we can take these files that Al attached for me. And this is cool because it impresses me, makes me feel good because it was like things are happening while we're talking on the webinar. I hope it impresses you because if you look at those timestamps, like all this has just happened. And I think it might impress Lindsay because she was just now talking and we made it happen. And so I'll say, here's the graphics, and wait for all those to load up. And cool, here are the graphics. We'll book using your link today on a webinar right now. In fact, showing this screen and me typing to you. And then we're also going to say we might also be able to work in some a little delegating, what do we call it? Delegating outsourcing talks, since that is always relevant. And cool. So there we go. We sent out the graphics, and this is where you should be in whatever context it is. Where I know that this might not apply to your exact situation 100% directly. Where you say, well, you know, I don't really do podcasting, or I don't talk to this person, or I'm not in this niche. But I hope you can see the possibilities. I hope that when all the zooming and zipping around that we've been doing and showing this idea and going off on that tangent, you can see how you can get the magic back in your business again. You can get excited again. And the place to do that is doubleagentmarketing.com. And let me tell you about Double Agent Marketing, because I think that this is very important. So with Double Agent Marketing, this has been our monthly online mastermind since 2010, and we still meet monthly. We give you a recap of the last 30 days, including screenshots and mini training. And so one thing that applies to me is I've kind of been on my own. Business partner and I broke up last July, and at first it was a mad dash to like recover the income, get some clients, and get the kind of recurring revenue going, pay for the 10 employees again. And now it's big picture time. Now the smoke, the dust is clearing, and now I'm able to do things like, have you noticed I've been doing more live webinars, and I've been making it a point to, if we have one of these monthly calls coming up, I kind of make it a point to pitch this this program on for that week. So that way I'm like talking about the meeting we're about to have. And for these meetings, they're a lot of fun, and you're totally okay to join Double Agent Marketing. If you don't like it, you can quit anytime that you want. But to make the most of it, you attend live. We give you a Zoom link, kind of like we're on a Zoom call now if you're here with us live. And you can ask as many questions as you want in the chat box, or if you can't make it, just email the questions that you have ahead of time, and just go and watch the replay. I'm not big on unmuting or having anyone else on the screen. It's just I'm the gatekeeper. I choose what chat messages to get to, because we don't want one person to like monopolize the whole session. But I would like to think that I'm not one of those people that can just get derailed really quickly. When I'm just like talking, and one little message comes in and just stops everything. We work the messages, the questions into the training and make it a lot of fun and talk about so many different subjects. And many times it's talking about, and see this, how even there's these messages coming up on Slack and I'm just like letting it roll past me, not even looking at these Slack messages. So anyway, we like to cover a lot of topics. That way, there's always something relevant. There's always something that you can use. There's always something that you're not doing, used to do, and should do again, or could be doing better. These meetings go from 1 to 3 hours, and there's 11 and a half years of archive. So you can go back and look at all the different activities we've been doing over the years in social media, in Facebook, in content creation, in book publishing. There's so many cool things that I'm so excited to show you. Like I want to show you about how my Kindle books have been selling. So what we sometimes can talk about is we view the orders and we look at how it's been doing the last 90 days, how we sold 4,300 books, and how sometimes we kind of have these traffic methods that get us a lot of books sold. I want to show you how I create audiobooks and have some of these audiobooks where we have these things called audiobook promo codes where we give away, if I can find this, like say there's this WWHW book where there's all these people here that are claiming like free copies of the audiobook. That way that boosts our ranking, that gets us reviews. There's this one that's a client audiobook that the wife and I narrated. That's another fun project. We have this team of all these employees. And I know that for me in particular, I resisted the idea of paying for a team. It seems scary. If you have employees, it means you have a real business. And that means that your business cannot dip below a certain level. Otherwise, you can't pay your employees. And so there's all these kind of scary bridges, canyons that I know that you personally have to cross. Don't try to cross it alone. Let's cross it together. It's just $7 a month. You have everything to gain and nothing to lose. We meet once a month, usually on the second Thursday. We talk about demos, marketing insights, principles, a 30-day recap. You can bring an unlimited number of questions about our business or about your business, and it's at doubleagentmarketing.com. So where to go is type in doubleagentmarketing.com in your web browser, click join now, and accept today's $7 payment right away. Log into the membership site, and we'll see you on the next live group call where we just kind of zip around and show some cool stuff, right? And if you're stuck, if you want to show us a web page, if you want us to explain your problem, so many times you're asking the wrong question, or the one thing you're concerned about is not actually something to be concerned about. I know that I delayed publishing a book for 2 years because I was stuck on this thing called an ISBN number. Turns out it's not even a real big issue. I was stuck for 2 more years because I was worried if I was able to edit my book once it was live. And turns out you can as well. But those were, this tiniest problem, 2 years gone. Tiny other problem, 2 more years gone. But I'm sure you can relate. I'm sure you can relate of being stressed out, held back, confused, stuck from this one issue, and it turns out that it wasn't even really an issue. And if only you thought to ask someone who could just quickly get rid of the problem for you, then you'd be way further along than you otherwise would be. And so I'm proud of you. I'm excited for you. I'm looking forward to speaking with you. And let's go together to doubleagentmarketing.com. You go there right now. Here is the webpage. You scroll down. You say join today, just $7. The pop-up appears. You fill in your information. You can pay via credit card or PayPal. Cancel anytime. You click complete order. Then you're in the members area to see the recordings. You get a confirmation email, and then we'll see you as we're recording this live, but we'll see you on whenever the next call is. If you're right here live on the Zoom call, then it will be tomorrow. But if you're otherwise on the replay, we meet every month. And so I look forward to hanging out with you and seeing what you're up to and sharing so much more on these live calls, doubleagentmarketing.com. Go there now. We'll see you there, and we'll see you in the members area for the members only private meeting. Doubleagentmarketing.com. Join now and bye for now.